Good morning, afternoon, evening, art nerds. My name is Stephen Quick and welcome to another stencil cutting video. I'm going to give you a bit of the background here. I wanted to create a series of 3 stencils. This is one of them, which were so detailed, the idea making the face out of patterns. This one is very specific and different to the other ones because this one I wanted to look very tribal. It's very inspired by Princess Mononoke. I hope I said that wrong. I probably haven't. The Studio Ghibli film. So if you see that headdress above her head, that's sort of the headdress that the princess has, and over the spray, when I spray it, I'll put in the red markings. So this one, I wanted to create a single layer stencil that only was, black and white probably, but create the contours of the face out of patterns. This one's sticking to very much the patterns that have that what's the word? Sort of that hippy dippy look. Those squares, the very sort of native Indian headdresses and things like that, but also with this Japanese twist. Having the swirls and the triangles and the shapes follow the contours of the muscle structure to give the face. This is just an actress, not an actress, sorry, this is a model who I used. She had on like a very fluffy panda headdress, which I took out the bits that said panda. It was one of those Kigu suits type thing. And I just put in sort of these feathers or plumes. I'm not really sure what to call them. Anyway, so that's what you're seeing. I'm cutting this up and making lots and lots of detail, loads of detail within everywhere. The triangles and the swerves and the curves, they're the easiest to cut because you're running the line straight. Things like a star shape or a star pattern would have been a lot more difficult. And these are the ones I'm testing for this. As you can see, the strands between these cuts are getting very, very thin and very, very difficult to not bust. I don't think I busted any on this one, but if you do, just chuck a bit of tape on. Let me say some of the material because that's what you guys always want to know. Card. This is just 300 GMS card. 300 is probably a bit too thick. I'd probably go for 275 or 250. You can find it, but I can get this one much cheaper. The blade is a Swan Morton blade, which snaps all the time. Just buy them in bulk. You can buy, I think, like 10 for a couple of quid in England. So I usually buy a couple of hundred at a time, and then just when they snap, chuck them away. But watch, because sometimes they snap and they hit you in the face. What else? The drawing bit has been being done with a Posca pen. You can use any pen really. I like to use a pen that dries quickly so I can get in there and start cutting, and you don't want something too felt tippy, otherwise it will make the cardboard softer, and you don't want to change the rigidity of the card. That's it really. So as you can see, I'm adding the teeth, the nose, the snarl in the face, and doing it all with patterns and shapes and curves and swirls, all very delicate, all very detailed. Not the most detailed one, but this was a starting point. These massive sort of brow lines. The pattern's not random. They're random as in when I think, oh, I'll put some triangles here, or I'll put some curves here. But once I start putting them in there, they are drawing. So imagine you're sort of shading a nose. This is the same process, but in the shade you put more pattern, and in the highlight you put less pattern. Therefore it creates a sort of fake pattern shadow. And this was something that looks random but took a long time to think out. This little bit here, which is sort of the top of the headdress, all these triangles, this bit it looks really cool watching it. I'm a bit mesmerized by my unbelievable brilliance. Plaster on the finger there because I cut myself many times. I'm always cutting myself, and it's not usually when I'm cutting, usually when I'm changing the blade, because I've got lots of sellotape and plasters wrapped around the handle of the blade to stop the sort of, what do you call those things, blisters coming on. So when I pull the blade off, I usually cut myself. Anyway, this one's nearly done. I hope you like it, and it's an experiment. This was always going to be quite difficult to cut, but actually cutting these small things is probably easier than cutting something that's very rigid and ragged, something that's got lots of curves and lots of, not curves, sort of right angle movements in it. So imagine like a hand or a finger, how many curves that's got in it. As you go up and down, that means there's more chance of it busting, and especially more chance of the blade busting. This way I'm only actually moving the blade in a straight direction, so that straight direction will not cause the blade to break. What else can I say? The cutting board. The cutting board is just a standard one. I get the biggest one I can fit on my desk. I think it's like an A1, A0 size. I get as big as I can so I can spin the stencil or the card round as I'm cutting it. I don't need to bother having to move the cutting mat. Get a good cutting mat, 'cause it really does make a difference that you can cut into it. You can use glass, but I'm not so sure of that. Oh, and there it is. Okay, so there you can see all the patterns making up the face. It doesn't make much sense, but in a minute I'll put it up to the window so it inverts itself. So there you go. See how they're inverted? So suddenly the dark bits become the light bits. You can see the eyes. You can kind of see the Princess Mononoke look there, and the growl and the black eyes, which is from the panda. It looks cool. This one is a bit of an amalgamation of ideas, but I thought it came out well. So I hope you enjoyed seeing me cut that, and hopefully I said something that was interesting. I don't know. Subscribe, and I'll see you soon, boys and girls and men and women and cats and dogs and princesses and princes. All right, stop talking, Steve. Stop talking. Bye.